First restriction, the Judgment Chain. This is the gold standard for how to weaponize hatred. It appears early in the York New City arc when KURAPIKA, a relatively new Nen user, decides he needs to hunt the Phantom Troop, a group of A-class bounties who slaughtered his entire clan. Normally, KURAPIKA is a conjurer. He can summon chains. Against an enhancer like Uvagin, who has skin distinctively tougher than steel and can destroy a canyon with a punch, KURAPIKA's normal chains should be useless. They would shatter on impact. To bridge this gap, KURAPIKA creates a contract based on exclusivity. He conjures the chain jail on his middle finger. Its ability is absolute. Whoever is wrapped in it is forced into a state of Zetsu. Their aura nodes force close. They cannot use Nen to defend themselves, meaning even the mighty Uvagin becomes as physically weak as a regular athletic human, unable to break the steel chains. But to make a chain strong enough to bind a spider, KURAPIKA had to place his own life on the altar. He placed a Nen blade, the Judgment Chain, around his own heart. The rule is simple. I will only use the chain jail on the Phantom Troop. If he uses it on anyone else, even by mistake, the blade will pierce his heart and he will die instantly. This creates a terrifying dynamic in the story. During the hostage exchange later in the arc, KURAPIKA is essentially walking on a razor's edge. He has the power to kill CHROLLO, the leader, but he is constantly 1 second away from his own death. The risk is not just physical, it is a permanent shackle on his freedom. He can never use his best weapon to defend himself against non-spider enemies, leaving him vulnerable to assassins or other threats, as seen in the Succession War arc. Second restriction, the mutilation of flesh. Not all restrictions require complex heart blades. Sometimes you just need to show your Nen that you are serious by permanently destroying a part of your own body. We see this with Franklin Bordeaux, member number 7 of the Phantom Troop. Franklin is an emitter. His ability, Double Machine Gun, allows him to fire high-velocity aura bullets. Logically, an emitter does not need to alter their body to do this. They can just shoot energy from their palms. However, Franklin wanted more power. He wanted bullets that could shred through cars, concrete, and heavy armor like they were paper. So, he made a physical sacrifice. He surgically cut off the tips of all 10 fingers. By severing his own fingertips and transforming his hands into literal gun barrels, he proved his resolve. He permanently lost the ability to use his hands for delicate tasks. He can never have normal dexterity again. In exchange, the output of his bullets skyrocketed. We see the result during the York New City arc auction massacre. Franklin doesn't just shoot people, he liquidates the room. His bullets tear through the crowd with such force that it looks like a heavy artillery bombardment. This teaches us a brutal lesson about Nen. You don't need a magical spell to make a vow. You just need the conviction to hurt yourself in a way that can never be fixed. Third restriction, the Thief's Burden. CHROLLO LUCILFER holds one of the most versatile and broken abilities in the series, Skill Hunter. It allows him to steal the Hatsu, special abilities, of other Nen users, trapping them in his book, Bandit's Secret. Once stolen, the original user loses the ability forever. Stealing a soul's power is a god-tier feat, so the restriction must be equally heavy. CHROLLO cannot just touch someone to take their power. He has to clear a strict 5-step ritual, usually within a single hour. He must witness the ability with his own eyes. He must ask the victim about the ability, and they must answer. The victim's palm must touch the handprint on the cover of his book. All of this must happen within 60 minutes. To use the stolen ability, he must hold the book open to the correct page with his right hand. This restriction dictates CHROLLO's entire existence. In his fight against the Zoldycks, he wasn't just fighting. He was trying to fulfill a checklist. He had to keep them alive, talk to them, and maneuver them, all while dodging lethal assassin techniques. In the manga, post-anime, CHROLLO adds a new layer. He acquires a bookmark. This allows him to use an ability even when the book is closed, or use 2 abilities simultaneously. However, because this makes the ability too easy, the restrictions became even harsher. While the exact details of the new penalties are ambiguous, CHROLLO implies that the bookmark requires cumbersome setups and specific adjustments for every fight. The mental load is excruciating. He has to juggle the complex restrictions of multiple stolen abilities at once. If he miscalculates a single condition, his entire strategy collapses. Fourth restriction, the risk of disclosure. In the Greed Island arc, the main villain, GENTHRU, the bomber, introduces a restriction that weaponizes information. His ability, Countdown, allows him to plant a Nen bomb on a target's body. The bomb is lethal, capable of blowing a hole through a hardened Nen user. To plant this bomb, GENTHRU must touch the target and say the word bomber. That sounds easy. But to activate the countdown, he has to fulfill a much riskier condition. He must explain the ability to the victim. He has to tell them exactly what the bomb is, how it works, and technically how to disarm it, which involves touching GENTHRU and saying, "I caught the bomber." This is a massive tactical error in any normal fight. In Nen, keeping your ability secret is vital. By telling the victim everything, GENTHRU gives them the keys to defeat him. But this risk is the fuel. By accepting the danger of being figured out, the power of the explosion is multiplied. This allows GENTHRU to plant bombs on dozens of people simultaneously, something his natural aura capacity should not allow. He uses this mass hostage situation to terrorize the Greed Island players. The explanation itself causes panic, preventing the victims from thinking rationally about the disarm method. He turns the restriction into a psychological weapon. Fifth restriction, the retribution of pain. FEITAN Portor, the troop's interrogator, possesses a transmutation ability called Pain Packer, and its offensive trigger, Rising Sun. This ability appears during the Chimera Ant arc in the fight against the squadron leader Zazan. FEITAN cannot activate his ultimate attack at will. He has no on button. The restriction is that he must take damage first. The heat and destructive power of his Rising Sun are directly proportional to how much pain and injury he has suffered in the battle. If he kills his opponent quickly and cleanly, he cannot use this ability. He has to let himself get hurt. He has to flirt with death. Against Zazan, FEITAN had a broken arm and shattered ribs before he could trigger the ability. The result was a miniature sun so hot it scorched the air in the entire hive and instantly incinerated Zazan, a creature with durability far surpassing steel. The risk here is obvious. To get enough power to kill a boss-level enemy, FEITAN has to survive a beating that would kill most people. It is a high-stakes gamble where the only way to win is to almost lose. Sixth restriction, the zero-sum game. Chairman NETERO, the strongest human in the series, relied mostly on the sheer speed of his 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva. But his final trump card, Zero Hand, relies on a restriction of total resource dumping. During the fight with Meruem in the Chimera Ant arc, when all other attacks failed to scratch the king, NETERO activated Zero Hand. The statue appears behind the enemy and clasps them gently. NETERO then fires a beam of light that contains every single drop of his aura. The restriction is absolute exhaustion. He does not keep a reserve for defense. He does not keep enough to run away. He dumps his entire life energy into one shot. The aftermath is horrifying. Within seconds, NETERO's body withers. His muscles atrophy, his skin sags, and he looks like a dried mummy. He ages decades in a moment. While the attack failed to kill Meruem due to the ant's illogical durability, the output was nuclear, melting through the bedrock of the testing site. This restriction shows that the ultimate power moves require you to leave yourself with absolutely nothing left. Seventh restriction, the post-mortem counter. In the current Succession War arc, manga only, the second prince, CAMILLA Huiguorao, reveals a restriction that relies on the ultimate taboo, death. Camilla's ability is called Cat's Name. The restriction is terrifyingly simple. She must be killed. She cannot summon her Nen beast while she is alive. She must enter a state of Zetsu, shutting off her defense and allow her enemy to murder her. Once her biological functions cease, the restriction is fulfilled. The massive accumulation of post-mortem Nen triggers the beast, which crushes the killer, liquefies their life force, and feeds it back into Camilla to resurrect her. This makes her nearly invincible in a standard duel, as seen when she allows Benjamin's guard, Musa, to shoot her point blank. She dies, the cat appears, kills Musa, and she revives completely healed. However, the cost is the trauma of dying repeatedly, and the massive flaw is that if an enemy realizes how it works, they can just capture her without killing her, rendering her completely powerless. 8th restriction, the final sacrifice. We end with the most devastating restriction in history, Gon FREECSS versus Neferpitou. Gon's transformation into adult Gon is not a standard Hatsu. It is a one-time contract fueled by pure despair. Upon realizing Kite is truly dead, Gon decides he no longer cares about his life or his dream of finding his father. He speaks to his Nen, "I'll use everything." The restriction he places on himself is the total forfeiture of his future. He force-ages his body to a state where he would be strong enough to defeat the king. He compresses decades of potential training, muscle growth, and aura refinement into a single moment. The cost is worse than death. After the power fades, Gon doesn't just go back to normal. His body collapses into a withered black husk. He is in a state of constant, agonizing decay that no doctor in the world can fix. He loses his ability to use Nen forever, until the reset by Nanika, and even then, his nodes are closed. The impact of this scene changes the lore of the series. It confirmed that a human can reach the level of the Chimera Ant King, but the price is their entire existence. Gon annihilated Pitou, a royal guard, with just a few hits, moving so fast that Pitou couldn't even perceive his movement. This is the ultimate example of Nen restrictions. Absolute power is available to anyone, but only if you are willing to throw away your life to get it.